Well, the era of Smackdown on Fox has officially ended as of next Friday, because they are staying on Friday nights. They will be on USA. And it's not the first time they've been on USA, but it'll be the first time under the new regime. And to say that the run on Fox has been a tumultuous up and down journey would be an understatement, because it has been. I mean, they started off hot, there's no doubt. A lot of people that would criticize Vince, calling the shots on the shows, people like JD from Off the Script and Alex from Just Alex and all of them that I follow, like Solid Monster and Greg Morgan and all them in OTR Central, they would all be, they're all usually, I should say, critical of shows under Vince. But for some reason, Fox was the exception. Fox basically was, a better show, more wrestling focused. And they even had some interesting segments on Fox, or at least part of the Fox, branding. They had the Talking Smack, because they wanted to separate the shows and everything. They had it all. They had it all. There's no doubt about that. And they tried what they could to really really push Fox, not Fox, but Smackdown. Almost made the mistake I did, in the previous recording, or attempted this recording. They did what they could to push Smackdown as very sports-centric. And good on them for doing that. But apparently, over time, and there's a lot of recorded archive reports that, pretty much can tell you this as a fact, that even though the deal was to make the show very sports-centric, so that way they can get sponsors and advertisers and everything to get behind it. That didn't last long, and of course we all know who and why it didn't last long. And that, of course, the who is Vince McMahon, and the why is because basically, I think Fox started to notice that they weren't getting no return, as they put it, on advertisements. In other words, when they would try to sell SmackDown as something to something as an entity, a sports entity that a major advertiser or sponsor could get behind, they'd get laughed off. They would basically get denied, because that advertiser or sponsor, from what I've heard, would basically let them know that this is not a legitimate sport. Why would you want us to sponsor or support this or get behind this? So they were just in for a rude awakening, not even a year into the partnership. But because obviously neither side wanted to face any legal lawsuit, in my opinion, didn't want to face any legal lawsuit, they decided to just keep on trucking and make the best out of it, make the most out of it. And to say that the pandemic era may have been some of the better showing for SmackDown at times, kind of up and down, again, would be an understatement. It would definitely be an understatement, but at least they tried, because even with Raw and NXT to an extent, but mainly the main shows, because there was no audience, there was a virtual audience and everything, but because of the fact that they had not the resources they normally have, like they do now or used to have, basically Vince had to let the wrestlers, let the superstars, do their own thing. He had to let them do their own thing. And yeah, there was some things that were controversial, some things that didn't really resonate well. And of course, the biggest, I think, deciding factor for Fox to finally say, nah, this ain't working out, let's cut ties and everything, was the ratings. The ratings were, not the best, coming in. They were not the best coming in, especially with the fact that they knew people would either DVR the episodes or watch them on demand, the next day or the following week, or wait a month to catch up on all that, on the episodes for the previous month or the previous, month or the previous few weeks, to kind of get an idea of like where things were, or they just catch highlights on YouTube. So yeah, basically the viewership numbers weren't, doing good, and for a while the attendance wasn't good as well. That's all changed now, and everything, that's all changed now, and I'm guaranteeing you Fox is probably kicking themselves in the butt. They're probably kicking themselves in the butt, realizing, oh shit, this company, this brand, it's getting hot now. It's getting a lot more sponsors, maybe not the major sponsors, but it's getting sponsors and everything, and advertisers behind them. Maybe we should have stuck it out, but too little, too late. And yeah, it's just, I think even WWE's like, this isn't working as well because the revenue, the ad revenue, the sponsorships and everything that they were, I guess hoping to get with the team up with Fox and vice versa, wasn't following through as well as they thought and everything. And basically it just was a partnership that was not meant to be. I mean, again, they did everything they could to really make it very sports centric. I mean, remember, they did WWE Backstage, which was a shoot, an unfiltered shoot style like show, which was on FSN. But again, that didn't last long. They even brought in CM Punk for that, under a Fox contract, not a WWE contract. So it's just one of those things that they did everything they could, both sides. It just wasn't working. And mostly, I think what really took Fox out of the ball game and everything was the fact that, I think what took them out of the ball game was, of course, in my opinion, what they had heard happened with Vince. And once that, came to light, pretty much, they're like, no way, we can't associate with this anymore. And that, I think that was like the final nail in the coffin for them. They basically said, we can't work with them anymore. That's it. We'll write it out and everything. We'll write it out for the next 2 years, and then that's it. And that's what they did. They wrote it out for the next 2 years. And, tonight was the final night. But you can also tell that there was some behind-the-scenes tension, like some behind-the-scenes sour grapes and everything. Like something was amiss, if you will. Like, there was more to what was going on than just a lot of things I've mentioned, and I'm sure others will mention, as well. And whatever that was, and maybe someday it'll come out and all that, maybe the information will come out. I think whatever else was going on behind the scenes that created some tension and stuff is the reason why Fox would do what they did sometimes, because you would think they would realize, hey, we're getting into bed with WWE, and some of the people that are going to have wrestle or be brought in, are going to be a little off the cusp, if you will. They're going to be kind of say what they want to say and stuff. We need to be prepared. And, obviously, for a time it looked like they were, but then recently it's like, okay, we can't do this anymore. We're ending this, relationship's ending. And, again, there had to be something more than just like a lot of the things I've mentioned. And I think the McMahon lawsuit, kind of played a role. McMahon being on TKO's board of directors for a time, played a role and everything. The Rock, being on the board along with Vince very short and temporarily played a role. And I think basically they're like, nope, can't do this anymore. And I think they purposely, in my opinion, started blacking out the screens and totally censoring, just cutting off the air a lot of those moments with The Rock because of, him being on the TKO board and him being associated with Vince to an extent, and all that, and him not, like really, speaking out and giving his personal opinion, about, what happened, like whether or not he was, against what Vince did, or he was, or he was indifferent or whatever. I think it's a lot of things behind the scenes, along with that really just led to Fox saying, no, we're done. We're done. We can't associate with this company anymore because of who their chairman is. We can't associate with this company anymore because of the newest board member and the fact that he has a connection with this guy and all of that. And I think, again, just other little tidbits here and there that came into play that really, I think kind of, caused them to finally put the final nail in the coffin and just say, hey, this is our last year. Let's let's show, let's basically show WWE how we truly appreciate them. And boy, did they ever. Boy, did they ever. And it got to the point, obviously, it got to the point that even those within the company, office-wise and everything, within the company, TKO, the wrestlers, along with the fans that were getting basically sick and tired of all this censorship that Fox was doing, And again, I think that was all done because, ironically, when The Rock would come on and everything, that was done on purpose because of him being on the board and him being on the board, him going on and being part of the board, at the same time, briefly for a time, at the same time, briefly, I should say, Vince was on there. So I think they wanted to disconnect as soon as they could from the company because of all that. And I guarantee you, they probably had a calendar where they were just checking off each day, going, just going, counting down the days till this, partnership ended. So, yeah. The era is over. Tumultuous ups and downs. To me, a lot of behind the scenes issues and everything, and basically promises that were made that were broken. And yeah, it's just one of those things that I guarantee you, if they go back to network television, they will with Saturday Night's Main Event apparently, that they're going to ensure that if they ever do partner with Fox again, they're going to make sure, everything is in writing and Fox, understands that, yeah, this is who we are. You're just going to have to accept it. But let me know what your thoughts are on the Fox, SmackDown Fox era. And until then, I am out.